Welcome the anointed ones. Some people want you because they see your glow. Others want you because they think they can survive off your energy. But neither group understands. You were never meant to be universally available. Now let's talk about why that statement hits harder than it should. There's a psychological fact that's been proven over and over again. Humans desire what feels rare, but they fear what they cannot control. And whether you admit it or not, chosen one, that's exactly the position life placed you in. You are rare and you are uncontrollable. A combination that warms hearts, bruises egos, and confuses people who thought you'd be an easy read. Your presence walks into a room like it has its own GPS signal, calm, grounded, and unintentionally intimidating. You're not loud, you're not trying to shine, you're not begging for attention, and yet attention keeps showing up like an uninvited guest that brought nothing but empty hands and big expectations. Half the people drawn to you don't even know why they're drawn. They just feel something pulling them like Wi-Fi they didn't pay for. And let's be honest, you've watched people try to approach you the way someone tries to open a locked door, pushing, pulling, knocking, hoping it magically opens because they deserve access. Newsflash, you are not a public building. Not everyone gets an entry pass, and definitely not everyone deserves one. Your story, your mind, your spirit, they're not for mass consumption. That's why so many want you, chase you, admire you, obsess over you, even misunderstand you. People love the idea of you, but they're rarely prepared for the reality of you. Because the truth is simple but uncomfortable. You weren't chosen to be popular. You were chosen to be precise, selective, intentional, aligned. And that's why your life feels like a paradox. You attract crowds, but you only connect with a handful. You inspire many, but trust very few. You brighten the room, but you don't belong to the room. You walk with a grace that looks effortless from the outside, but inside you know it took years of battles, boundaries, and evolution to reach this level of calm. This episode isn't about being wanted. It's about understanding why being wanted doesn't mean being meant for everyone. Settle in, because once you hear these next points, you'll understand something that will change the way you look at your own value forever. Number one, you're not hard to get. You're hard to convert into anything less than who you are. People often mistake your calm, selective nature for being difficult or uninterested, but the truth is far simpler and far more profound. You're not resisting people. You're resisting distortion. You're not avoiding connections. You're avoiding becoming a reduced version of yourself just to make someone else comfortable. For most people, relationships and interactions are negotiable. They bend their tone, shrink their opinions, and rearrange their values just to be accepted. But you're built differently. You don't bend, you align. And alignment is something most people don't have the patience, depth, or maturity to offer. When people meet you, they immediately realize something unsettling. They cannot shape you into what benefits them. They can't pressure you into performing, adjusting, or pretending. You don't fold under attention, and you don't collapse under expectation. Your identity is not clay. It's architecture. It's structured, grounded, and too rooted to be reshaped by someone's fleeting feelings. This makes you incredibly attractive because in a world where many people wobble, you're stable. But it also makes you intimidating because stability exposes instability. People don't get frustrated because you're unavailable. They get frustrated because influence doesn't work on you. They can't rewrite your boundaries. They can't manipulate your emotions. They can't convince you to compete, conform, or chase. And in today's world, where validation is the new currency, you refusing to be impressed unsettles anyone operating from insecurity. They want you, but they want the version of you that makes them feel powerful. And when they realize you're not programmable, They start to panic. You were chosen because you're not an echo. You're a signature, unique, unmistakable, and unrepeatable. That's why people feel magnetized toward you. Your authenticity wakes up something dormant in them. But that same authenticity also scares them because it demands they show up as their real selves. You don't play the emotional games that most people rely on to feel in control. You don't shift your identity to fit a room. And that's why you'll always attract many, but only bond with the few who value connection over control. You're not hard to get, you're hard to convert, and that's your power. Number 2, you're not chosen because you fit in. You're chosen because you expose the spaces that never fit you. Most people live their lives chasing belonging. They want approval, acceptance, and comfort in places that feel familiar. They adjust, adapt, and even compromise pieces of themselves just to blend in. You, on the other hand, operate in a completely different way. You were never meant to fit neatly into someone else's framework. Your existence highlights the cracks in environments that pretend to be perfect. When you enter a room, a conversation, or a group, you make it impossible for pretense to survive. That's what makes you magnetic. And that's also why only a select few can truly be in your orbit. Being chosen isn't about merging with the crowd. It's about standing as a revelation. You make people face the corners they have ignored, the ideas they have avoided, and the truths they have buried. Most people want you for the surface, your presence, your charisma, the energy that seems effortless. But very few can endure the depth you bring. You were designed to illuminate the hidden gaps, not to hide in them. You reveal what is overlooked and what is often conveniently ignored. That creates discomfort for those who aren't ready to face themselves, but it also draws the right people like a beacon. People are attracted to you because you are rare, but they are only compatible with you when they can acknowledge the truth you carry. You expose what cannot be changed, what refuses to be ignored, and what will never bow to convenience. That's why many admire you from a distance. They see the light and the clarity, but only a few can truly meet you without feeling threatened. Your presence is a test of authenticity, and most fail before they even start. You're not here to conform. You're here to illuminate. You're not chosen to fit in. You're chosen to show where fitting in is impossible. That distinction separates the crowd from the few who are worthy of walking with you in alignment, and it's that separation that defines your power. You don't just stand out, you redefine the spaces around you. Number 3, your energy is a mirror that tells people who they truly are, not who they pretend to be. The moment people come into contact with you, something unsettling happens. They see themselves, not the version they carefully craft for the world, but the raw, unfiltered version hiding beneath. Your energy doesn't accommodate lies or exaggerations. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't sugarcoat. It reflects truth so sharply that people often step back, unsure if they're ready to face it. And that's exactly why you are wanted, admired, and sometimes feared. Because the truth you radiate is not always comfortable, yet it is undeniable. Most people interact with the world through filters, through masks, performances, and rehearsed versions of themselves that feel acceptable to others. But when they are around you, the mirrors they've been hiding behind crack. Your presence doesn't ask them to change. It shows them what change is unavoidable if they want to keep pace with life in full authenticity. You expose self-deception in ways that are both silent and profound. That energy draws people like moths to a flame, not because you are trying to hypnotize them, but because they are drawn to the reality that they cannot hide from. Some people run from it because it's uncomfortable. Others are obsessed because it's intoxicating. There's a strange allure to being seen so clearly, even if it comes with a dose of discomfort. People want what you bring, but they cannot replicate it. They can't fake the depth, the alignment, or the unshakable self-awareness that defines you. Your energy doesn't bend to please. It doesn't compromise to fit expectations. Being chosen means having an aura that is not meant for casual consumption. You are a mirror that reveals not only who people are, but who they could be if they were brave enough to face themselves. That clarity is magnetic, irresistible, and rare. Only those willing to confront their own reflection can truly be close to you, and that is why your presence is both desired and selective. You don't just interact with people, you reveal them. Number 4, you attract everyone because you heal something, but you keep very few because you refuse to be their medication. People are drawn to you in ways they don't fully understand. There's a subtle energy about you that calms chaos, softens tension, and makes people feel seen in ways they've never experienced. You carry a presence that soothes unspoken wounds, even before anyone says a word. That's why so many want to be near you. They sense relief, comfort, or understanding that is absent elsewhere. You don't chase anyone. You don't perform or manufacture charm. Your very existence, your alignment, and your awareness radiate something rare that draws people like a magnet. And that's exactly why they are irresistibly attracted to you. But here's the difference that separates you from everyone else. You don't exist to fill the gaps in someone else's life at the cost of your own stability. Many people approach relationships, friendships, and even casual connections looking for someone to patch them up, to carry their baggage, or to numb the discomfort of their unresolved issues. You notice this instinctively, and you don't participate. You know that true connection comes from choice, not obligation. You can heal, guide, and elevate, but only when the other person is willing to meet you in balance. You refuse to become a substitute for accountability, maturity, or self-responsibility. Because of this, many are left frustrated. They are drawn to your light but are unprepared to do the inner work required to hold it. They confuse your presence with permission to lean, take, and extract. But you are not an unlimited resource. You attract everyone because your energy reminds them of what they've been missing. But you keep very few because your energy is sacred, intentional, and non-negotiable. Being chosen means understanding that influence does not mean availability. Your power is not in being endlessly reachable. It is in being aligned, aware, and selective. You heal by presence, not by surrendering yourself. That is why people want you in theory, but only a rare few ever experience the depth of what it means to truly be close to you. You are not their medication. You are the blueprint for self-possession, and that distinction is what makes you exceptional. Number 5, people desire you because you give them clarity. But clarity isn't comfortable, and comfort seekers don't survive around you. You are not a person who delivers illusions or half-truths. Your energy, your presence, and the way you carry yourself communicate one undeniable thing: reality in its purest form. People are drawn to you because deep down, they crave truth. They want to see the lines clearly, the boundaries unmistakably, and the intentions fully revealed. Your clarity is like a flashlight in a dark room. Suddenly, everything that was hidden, vague, or ignored becomes visible. And while that light is magnetic, it also exposes every corner people would rather leave in shadow. Most people live in comfort zones filled with excuses, illusions, and self-deception. They rely on ambiguity because it's easier to float in than to confront. When you enter their life, your clarity disrupts the ease they've built for themselves. They feel it immediately. There's no way to soften it, no way to sugarcoat it, no way to bend it into what they want it to be. You force people to reckon with themselves, with their choices, and with the truth they've been avoiding. And that can be uncomfortable, even painful, for those who depend on their own illusions to function. But this is exactly why you are wanted. People are instinctively drawn to what awakens them. They feel a pull toward your presence because it reminds them of something they've lost, something they've ignored, or something they've never truly known. Your clarity is rare, and rarity carries value. However, attraction and compatibility are two different things. Many will chase your light because it feels exciting, illuminating, or empowering, but only a few can endure it consistently without resentment or fear. You were chosen because your clarity is purposeful. It separates the superficial from the substantial, the temporary from the enduring. Those who are not willing to confront themselves or step up to your level will naturally drift away, leaving space for those who resonate with authenticity. You don't dilute yourself to soothe comfort seekers, and that is what makes your presence so magnetic, so rare, and so profoundly transformative. People desire you because you reveal truth, but only the strong can survive in that truth. Number 6, you don't choose less, you only choose what doesn't shrink you. Most people confuse compromise with growth, settling with safety, and convenience with connection. They lower their standards to fit someone else's expectations, to avoid conflict, or simply because it feels easier than waiting for what truly aligns. You, however, operate on a completely different wavelength. You don't choose less because the world pressures you to. You choose only what enhances your life, what expands your mind, and what elevates your spirit. You refuse to let anyone or anything reduce your energy, your ambition, or your vision, and that's why you are rare, magnetic, and profoundly unsettling to people who expect compliance. Your decisions are intentional. They are measured not by how well they please others, but by how well they honor your inner truth. You recognize immediately when something or someone carries the potential to shrink your light, dilute your purpose, or distract you from alignment. You don't linger, you don't rationalize, and you don't compromise for temporary validation. That clarity and self-possession are what makes you both wanted and misunderstood. Many are attracted to the aura you carry, the confidence in your choices, and the unapologetic strength in your standards. Yet, only a few are capable of meeting you without feeling threatened, because most people are comfortable only with influence they can control. You've watched countless people settle, trying to fit into molds, making compromises that cost them pieces of themselves, and confusing attachment with alignment. You understand that every lesser choice comes with a hidden tax, diminished self-respect, lost energy, and subtle regret. That's why you refuse it. Choosing what doesn't shrink you is not arrogance, it's self-preservation, it's clarity, and it's a requirement of your purpose. Being chosen means operating above the default expectations of society, relationships, and even friendship. You select what resonates with the highest version of yourself, and in doing so, you create a life that cannot be copied, replicated, or fully understood by the crowd. You don't lower your standard to fit someone else's comfort zone. You elevate your world to match your own alignment. That's what separates the ordinary from the chosen, the temporary from the timeless, and the fascinated from the worthy. Number 7, your presence triggers people's hidden ambition or their hidden jealousy. When you step into a space, you don't just occupy it, you activate it. People feel something shift around you, a subtle energy that forces them to notice themselves. For some, this energy sparks ambition. They see your alignment, your focus, and the way you move through life with precision, and suddenly they are reminded of what they've been ignoring in themselves. They feel challenged, not threatened, but awakened. Your presence pulls out dormant drive, hidden potential, and the parts of people that have been sitting idle, waiting for a spark. That kind of influence is rare, and it's exactly why people are drawn to you, even when they don't fully understand why. But not everyone responds in a productive way. Some can't handle being reminded of their own shortcomings or the effort they've been avoiding. For them, Your existence doesn't inspire, it irritates. Your clarity, your alignment, and your refusal to bend or shrink highlight what they aren't willing to face. That triggers jealousy, resentment, and subtle competition. They want what you have, but they hate seeing it on someone else. Your presence exposes their insecurities like a spotlight on cracks in the foundation. And while this can be uncomfortable for them, it's part of the price of being around someone chosen, someone who refuses to dim for anyone. You don't create this reaction intentionally, yet it happens naturally because of the authenticity and precision you carry. You aren't just magnetic, you are catalytic. People either rise toward their best selves or reveal the limitations they have been hiding behind. That's why your circle is selective, because most can't withstand the reflection you offer. They crave proximity but resist accountability, admire from afar but resent the example you set, and desire connection but cannot meet it with maturity. Being chosen means holding a presence that is uncontainable and unavoidable. You don't just exist quietly, you amplify everything around you. People are drawn to you because your energy awakens something essential within them, but only those willing to confront themselves can truly stand by your side. Your influence doesn't just attract, it separates, refines, and exposes. Number 8. You were chosen because you can stand alone without internal collapse. One of the most defining traits of a chosen one is the ability to stand fully intact, even when isolation becomes the only option. Most people are terrified of being alone, not because solitude is uncomfortable, but because they rely on external validation to define their worth. They measure themselves through approval, attention, and social belonging. You, however, are built differently. You don't need constant affirmation to feel complete, and that independence sets you apart in ways few can truly understand. You can be in a room full of people and still feel complete, because your foundation doesn't waver with the tides of opinion. This ability to remain whole in solitude is magnetic. People are drawn to it because it reflects strength they secretly wish they had. They want to be near someone who doesn't collapse under pressure, who doesn't bend for comfort, who doesn't dilute their essence to please the crowd. Your presence reassures and intimidates at the same time. It creates fascination because you are unshakable, and it makes people notice the difference between being supported by others and being rooted in yourself. Yet this independence also filters out those who cannot measure up. You don't seek company simply to fill a void. You only engage with people who complement your life without demanding your center. You are not lonely. You are selective. That distinction is subtle, but it separates the ordinary from the exceptional. People who are not ready to carry themselves in alignment with their own strength cannot thrive around you, and that's exactly why only a few truly remain close. Being chosen means being able to thrive in your own presence before you can thrive with others. You don't rely on attachment for validation or energy. You carry a completeness that others can admire, aspire to, or even envy. Your solitude is a testament to your strength, and it ensures that when you do connect, it is intentional, powerful, and aligned. Standing alone is not a weakness. It is proof that you were never dependent, never negotiable, and always chosen for the path you were destined to walk. Number 9. People chase you because you feel like the future, but most of them still live in their past. You carry an energy that is ahead of its time. Your mindset, your decisions, and even the way you navigate life give off the sense that you are operating on a frequency most people haven't even discovered yet. You're constantly evolving, thinking in dimensions, and moving toward visions that are not just goals. They are inevitabilities shaped by alignment, discipline, and clarity. That energy is magnetic. People are drawn to it because it represents possibility, progress, and the version of life they secretly hope they could achieve. They chase you because being near you feels like glimpsing what's coming, like seeing the future before it unfolds. But here's the catch. Most of those drawn to you aren't equipped to keep up. They are trapped in their own histories, replaying old stories, clinging to past mistakes, and measuring life through outdated frameworks. They live in nostalgia, resentment, or fear, while you are operating in innovation, growth, and possibility. Their attraction isn't toward who you truly are, it's toward the potential you represent, the blueprint of what they wish they could be. And because they can't leave their past behind, they cannot truly connect with your present, let alone your future. This is why you are wanted by many but understood by few. People are drawn to your vision, your ambition, and your evolution, but only a small number can step out of their old patterns and meet you on the same frequency. You are not a dream to be possessed. You are a timeline to be aligned with, and that requires readiness, courage, and a willingness to shed what no longer serves. Being chosen means living in forward motion, not nostalgia. Your energy is rare because it doesn't linger in comfort zones or outdated narratives. You attract attention, admiration, and pursuit, but only those who are ready to step into the future alongside you are worthy of your presence. You are not just living in the moment, you are living in the potential of what is coming, and that separation from the past is what defines your power. Number 10. You don't bond through wounds, you bond through values. Most people form connections based on shared pain or mutual struggle. They seek trauma twins, believing that two broken pieces can fit together and create a sense of belonging. It's a common approach because pain feels immediate, familiar, and easy to identify. But you operate differently. You don't build relationships around wounds or weaknesses. You build them around principles, standards, and alignment. You bond with people who reflect your values, your integrity, and your vision for life. That is why your connections are rare, strong, and enduring. Your energy naturally filters out the shallow and the reactive. People who try to connect with you simply because they are drawn to your aura or because you make them feel good temporarily rarely make the cut. You aren't here for casual companionship or temporary relief from loneliness. You are here for substance, resonance, and mutual growth. When someone truly enters your life, it is because their way of thinking, their approach to living, and their commitment to their own evolution mirrors yours. That is the kind of alignment that creates trust, loyalty, and an unspoken understanding that transcends words. Bonding through values is not always easy for others to grasp. Many are used to connections that are based on emotion, convenience, or shared suffering. They expect the standard scripts of sympathy, validation, and compromise. You, however, do not bend to comfort or nostalgia. You see whether someone's core principles match yours. You see if their vision is capable of expanding alongside yours rather than pulling it down or keeping it stagnant. That clarity is magnetic to the few who are ready, but intimidating to the many who are not. Being chosen means forming alliances and relationships that are intentional, powerful, and meaningful. You attract people who are not just present. They are aligned, engaged, and capable of resonance. Your connections aren't accidents. They are selections based on depth, integrity, and shared purpose. You don't bond through wounds because you are not defined by pain. You bond through values because you are defined by alignment, and that is what makes your presence rare, respected, and unforgettable. Number 11, you're not mysterious. People simply can't access the levels you think on. People often label you as mysterious, but the truth runs deeper than a simple air of intrigue. You're not hiding. You're operating on levels most people can't even recognize. Your mind moves in dimensions, connecting thoughts, patterns, and possibilities that remain invisible to the casual observer. Conversations with you aren't just exchanges, they're exercises in depth, reflection, and awareness. Most people can only skim the surface, so they mistake your depth for secrecy. They think you are quiet, distant, or enigmatic, but in reality you are fully present, just not present in a way that they can grasp. Your thought processes are sophisticated, precise, and intentional. You analyze without over-explaining. You act without needing validation. You move through life guided by principles, long-term vision, and inner calibration, not external expectation. That kind of mental and emotional alignment is rare, and when people encounter it, it challenges them. They want to understand you, but understanding you requires effort, patience, and a level of self-awareness most are unwilling to develop. That's why so many are attracted to you yet remain frustrated. They sense brilliance, clarity, and direction, but cannot follow the trajectory. Being inaccessible in thought doesn't mean you are distant or unkind. It means you exist on a wavelength that few can reach. Your ideas, instincts, and decisions are deliberate, and you engage with the world according to your own calibration. People feel magnetized toward that energy because it is rare, authentic, and untainted by pretense. Yet that same energy serves as a natural filter, weeding out those who are not ready, capable, or willing to engage at the same depth. You were chosen to operate with clarity and precision, not to be diluted by misunderstanding or shallow expectations. Your levels of thinking, your self-possession, and your awareness create boundaries that are invisible yet unmistakable. People call it mystery because it is unfamiliar, unreplicable, and beyond ordinary comprehension. You are not secretive. You are advanced, calibrated, and intentionally selective. That is what makes your presence magnetic, your mind unshakable, and your influence undeniable. Number 12, you were chosen because you choose with precision, not emotion. Most people make decisions based on feelings, impulses, or what seems convenient in the moment. They follow whims, react to situations, and often let fear, desire, or temporary comfort dictate their path. You, however, operate on a different frequency. Your choices are deliberate, calculated, and aligned with a bigger vision that most cannot perceive. You don't act because it feels good or because someone else expects it. You act because it is necessary, purposeful, and consistent with the life you are intentionally building. That kind of precision is rare, magnetic, and often intimidating to those who are used to reactive living. Choosing with precision doesn't mean you lack compassion or intuition. It means you honor your own alignment above all else. You weigh decisions based on values, long-term outcomes, and whether a choice elevates or diminishes your energy. You don't gamble your spirit, compromise your integrity, or make excuses to accommodate someone else's comfort. That discernment sets a clear boundary between those who are compatible with your life and those who are not. People are attracted to that clarity because it's stabilizing, inspiring, and unmistakably strong. At the same time, it frustrates those who want to influence, manipulate, or bypass your standards because you are not negotiable. Your precision acts like a filter. It ensures that every relationship, every opportunity, and every investment of your time serves your growth and purpose. You are selective, not out of pride, but out of necessity. You understand that every compromise, every distraction, and every misalignment costs more than just time. It costs energy, focus, and potential. Most people don't operate at this level, which is why they admire from a distance, but rarely meet your standards. Being chosen means mastery over impulse, clarity over chaos, and alignment over convenience. Your choices are not accidents. They are deliberate markers of your path. You were chosen because you understand that life rewards precision, and that precision separates you from the crowd, protects your energy, and ensures that only those who are truly aligned are allowed into your world. You don't choose with emotion. You choose with intention, and that is the hallmark of a life built to last. Number 13, you attract powerful people because your spirit communicates in a frequency their ego can't manipulate. Most people navigate life with a mindset that prioritizes control, influence, and hierarchy. They measure others through what can be gained, leveraged, or managed. Your energy, however, operates outside that equation. You carry a frequency that is authentic, calibrated, and untouchable by manipulation. Your presence doesn't beg for validation, nor does it bend to pressure or pretense. People who are accustomed to dominating or influencing others quickly realize that their usual tactics don't work on you. That realization is magnetic. It draws people who are strong, ambitious, and capable, but it also unsettles those who depend on ego games to feel powerful. The people who gravitate toward you aren't attracted to your image, your status, or your accomplishments alone. They are attracted to the alignment you embody. They sense a rare kind of energy that doesn't compromise, that doesn't waver under scrutiny, and that refuses to be reduced by anyone else's insecurities. Your spirit speaks a language of integrity, confidence, and self-possession that bypasses the superficial, entering directly into a zone of respect that most have never experienced. For the right people, this is intoxicating. It reminds them of their own untapped potential, of the power that exists when ego is set aside and authenticity takes the lead. Yet that same frequency naturally filters out the unworthy. People who try to manipulate, pressure, or control your life immediately encounter a resistance they are not equipped to handle. They are drawn to your power, but they cannot engage with it without either stepping up or being exposed. Your energy does not simply attract, it tests, refines, and elevates those who enter your orbit. Being chosen means that your spirit is calibrated in a way that draws not just attention, but the right attention. You don't seek influence or control. Influence seeks you. Powerful people are drawn to you because they feel a resonance that cannot be fabricated, bought, or coerced. You communicate in ways that bypass ego entirely, and that is why your presence is rare, magnetic, and transformative. You don't need to prove yourself. They recognize your frequency instantly. Number 14. You're not for everyone because your destiny requires you to be uncorrupted by the wrong hands. Your path is not ordinary, and your presence is not meant to be diluted. There is a level of purpose embedded in your existence that demands careful stewardship. Not everyone can carry the weight, energy, or vision you were designed to hold. Being chosen means that your essence cannot be subject to compromise, manipulation, or misuse, because the cost of misalignment is too great, not just for you, but for the trajectory you are meant to follow. People are drawn to you instinctively, drawn to the power and clarity you radiate, but attraction alone doesn't qualify someone to share in your life. This is why your circle is so selective and why your interactions are often limited to those who can match your integrity and alignment. You were never meant to be universally accessible. Your energy, your mind, and your decisions carry a gravity that can either elevate or distort. The wrong hands, those driven by insecurity, envy, or selfish intent, cannot be allowed into your orbit because they would undermine not just your growth, but the impact you are destined to make. Your destiny requires you to operate with precision, clarity, and protection of your own integrity. Many people chase you because they are drawn to your light, but they fail to see that your purpose is not about their desire. It's about your alignment. You are not available for casual consumption, temporary convenience, or emotional borrowing. You were chosen to cultivate influence, strength, and transformation in a way that cannot be hijacked by mediocrity, manipulation, or ego-driven agendas. That is why being wanted is one thing, but being understood, respected, and trusted is another entirely. Your life is a filter. It separates the temporary from the eternal, the unworthy from the aligned, and the surface level from the deeply resonant. You don't exist to please everyone, and you don't exist to be taken lightly. You are a blueprint of purpose, and your destiny demands guardianship of your essence. That is why you are not for everyone, because only those who are capable, conscious, and aligned can truly hold space in your world. Your rarity is your power, and your selectivity ensures that your impact remains uncorrupted, precise, and unstoppable. Every moment of your existence proves one undeniable truth. You are not ordinary, you are not casual, and you are not here to fit into the expectations of the masses. You were chosen because your life operates on a level that demands precision, authenticity, and alignment. From the way you attract people, to the way you navigate relationships, to the clarity you radiate, everything about you signals that you are meant for a rare kind of connection and a rare kind of purpose. You don't bend for comfort, you don't shrink to please, and you don't exist to fill someone else's void. You move deliberately, think deeply, and live intentionally, and that is what makes you magnetic, respected, and unforgettable. The world will always want to claim a piece of you, whether it's your energy, your attention, or your wisdom. But being wanted is not the same as being accessible. Your presence separates the ordinary from the exceptional, the fleeting from the enduring, and the weak from the aligned. You attract not because you are loud, flashy, or desperate for validation. You attract because your energy communicates integrity, strength, and an unshakable commitment to purpose. People feel it immediately. You are a force that awakens hidden ambition, exposes hidden weaknesses, and reminds everyone that not everything valuable can be tamed, owned, or understood. Being chosen comes with responsibility, not to others' expectations, but to your own evolution. Every bond you form, every decision you make, every space you enter is filtered by the values you hold, the vision you carry, and the destiny you are walking. That selectivity is not selfishness. It is protection of what is sacred, alignment with what matters, and proof that your life was never meant to be ordinary. You are a blueprint for power, presence, and purpose. If this resonated with you, if you feel the truth of your energy and the weight of your calling, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss content that speaks directly to your journey. Like this video if it opened your eyes to the rare power you carry. Comment below to share how you're stepping into your alignment, and share it with someone who needs to understand their own extraordinary presence. Your light is rare. Let's make sure it continues to shine unapologetically. God bless you. God.